Code monkey get up, get coffee. Code monkey go to job. Code monkey have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
How they hanging down, dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and it has been way too long since I finally sat down and did a good old-fashioned review. And I am sorry for that, you guys. Bunch of things come up, which I don't really want to talk about that much. It's kind of, some personal things came up, and then I was tired, and I didn't have time to do reviews, and Scorch came back, and, I ended up getting abducted by aliens, and ended up becoming the president of Mexico for a while, and it was a whole mess. In fact, speaking of Mexico, the newest season in one of my favorite Netflix shows finally came out, and I'm here to review the first episode. I'm talking about Narcos Mexico. Now, for those of you who have not seen Narcos, let me tell you this much. Go watch it. It is a rather long show. Each episode is about an hour long. There's 3 seasons, so you're looking at close to 30-ish hours. So you could probably binge the entire Narcos for like the first 3 seasons over an entire weekend or something, and I'd highly recommend it. It has great writing, phenomenal acting, and honestly one of the most brutal tones I've ever seen in any show ever. Not really helped by the fact that most of it is relatively accurate to what really happened. It's a terrifying show at times and proves the brutality and just the sheer depravity of the drug cartel. Heck, it even makes us feel sympathy for, like, the main bad guy. I didn't really think that would ever happen, but it certainly did. Really, I only ever started watching Narcos because, well, Netflix recommended it one day. I watched, like, 10 minutes of the first episode, stopped, came back after a while, and loved it. Heck, I watched a ton of it when I was in that stupid boot and my ankle was fractured and I really couldn't do much but sit around all day. Did a lot of painting and watching Narcos. I will admit, though, you have to be ready to watch with subtitles, because unless you speak fluent Spanish, or I forget the language they were talking, I'm so sorry, a lot of this will be kind of hard to watch, because there is no full English dub, which I do like, though. So after watching the first 3 seasons, I was kind of left with one question. What now? Where do we go from here? We've dealt with perhaps the biggest drug cartel leader of all time, Pablo Escobar, and all the people that came after him. Where could we possibly go from here? Well, turns out we're going to Mexico. In fact, I think this might actually be a prequel to the first season. Now, if it is, please do not tell me, as I'm going to watch this show and I don't want to be spoiled, but I think I know what's going to happen in the end, and it is not going to be good. But let me tell you, from the first episode, simply titled, I think it's Camelot? I'm just checking. Yeah, Camelot. I don't know what that has to do with any of the actual show. It was amazing. Once again, we get this awesome setup. We get really likable characters. It proves to us just how crafty and just how twisted the members of the cartels are. And I love it. The writing in this is very tight. Despite being 57 minutes, it honestly felt like only like half an hour, at least. The writing was so tight that it felt much shorter than it was, and I really wanted to just jump in and get to the next episode as soon as I was done watching the first one. In fact, I literally finished it less than a minute before I got this set up and started recording. I was trying to figure out what the heck am I going to review next, because I got some stuff I'm working on, but I don't want to release a half-baked review and then I was on Netflix looking for a movie to watch, and it said, by the way, new Narcos is out, and I'm like, yes, let's do it, Dino Dudes, let's go. And I was not disappointed. Now, granted, some might say, oh, Raptor, you're impressed by everything. Well, here's the thing. I've become a lot more critical recently. I have been rewatching movies and realizing just how lenient I was on some of them. And in some cases, you gotta give me that. You're not gonna watch a B shark movie and compare it to Citizen Kane. But here, I was looking at it from an actual critic's perspective. And let me say, the writing, all the dialogue was very solid. None of it felt forced or cliched. They actually avoided a lot of actual cliches in dialogue. A whole lot of cop cliches were completely subverted or outright changed. I loved it. The characters feel fresh and original. They don't feel like they're rehashes of the characters we've had in the past. And I love the new setting. I love the fact that it's not actually going to be about cocaine this time. It's about marijuana. Now, as some of you may know, I am Canadian, and you might know that recently Canada has legalized marijuana. So let me tell you real quick what I think about it. There's nothing wrong with it. People that tell you, oh, it'll kill you if you use it even once, they're full of it. If you mix it with heroin and meth and then do it, yeah, that'll probably kill you. But it will not kill you. It will not destroy your life. As long as you do it over the legal age and you're not drinking with it or driving afterwards, it's fine. I don't do it, but that's my opinion on it. And honestly, I could not care less about politics. But let me tell you this much. One thing I love about this show is the style it's shot in. A lot of the times when they do flashbacks or try to explain, who this person is, they'll use actual news footage and pictures of who this person is, and rather than get people and recreate it, they use the original footage, and it has a grain on it that both feels like it's how it would have been back in the day, but it also feels like they may have digitally added a bit of grain to make it seem like the footage has dated. I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless, it looks like a very nice detail. The sets, it does not look like a modern city, it looks like the 1980s. Now, granted, I have not been to Mexico before. Maybe it looks all the same now. I don't mean that in an offensive way, but I can't say for sure. Same with how I can't really say how good some of the acting is because, 80% of this episode is spoken entirely in Spanish. As somebody who knows only the bare minimum of Spanish, namely from playing Overwatch and from looking up how to curse in other languages just for fun, I can't really say if these actors are good or not, but I can certainly say from their body language at least, it seems like they're giving a good performance. Could somebody who does speak Spanish let me know how they did? And I will say the English actors were great. The one guy who blew my mind that he was able to pull off his character so well was of all actors, Michael Pena. Yeah, Lewis from Ant-Man is the main character in this. And rather than being the whole okay, so listen, I know this guy who knows this guy, and then he talked to his girl, and then that girl talked to her sister, and then he told us, he has to play a very straight character, somebody who is in almost kind of a midlife crisis, and he plays it so well. I don't know if this is something he's done a lot before, if he's been in a lot of serious dramas. The only things I've ever seen him in before was the 2 Ant-Man movies and all that, but he does amazing. I don't know, maybe it's just me, and maybe I am just too easy to impress, but a lot of the time it really felt like these characters, or at least these actors, were giving it everything they had, and honestly, they were pulling off a really good performance. The villains in this show, or at least who I think will be the villains, they seem to have the same level of cunning and just pure brutality as Pablo Escobar. In fact, this show, one thing I've always loved about it is how realistically brutal it is. They don't shy away from gore, they don't shy away from violence and torture, but they don't do it in a way that makes you feel like, oh, did Mel Gibson do like this? You're like, whoa. Okay, this actually happened. That's when it hits you that, this did happen, people. It's creepy. And sorry about this one picture being up for this whole review. Aside from just being a shorter review, and I wanted to get it out a bit quicker so you guys can know how awesome the show is, I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm just using the bare minimum. But, yeah. What else is there to talk? Oh, yes. One thing I've loved about every season of Narcos, with some episodes being a bit boring and some episodes dragging a bit long, the one thing, aside from the acting, that's been phenomenal across all 3 seasons has been the music. Narcos has one of my all-time favorite TV intros. In fact, that's actually a list I might be working on. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, sub, sub. Sorry about that. Don't know what I was saying there, but it certainly has nothing to do with the idea that you should probably subscribe and turn on notifications. Or don't. I honestly am kind of indifferent, but I do want to talk about that after. Uh, the theme song is amazing, and I love the music they use in this. I've always been a fan of, I guess you could call it mariachi music. I don't think that's what this would be, though. Like, I don't think you'd describe the music they're using as mariachi. In fact, it seems far from it. It's much more somber, much more contained, I guess. But one of my favorite songs, like one of my all-time favorite songs in the Sons of Anarchy soundtrack, which was a friggin' amazing soundtrack, was Los Tiempos Van Cambiandos, which is a Spanish rendition of my all-time favorite song, or at least one of my all-time favorite songs, The Times They Are A-Changin'. Anyhow, the music is phenomenal. It's beautiful, it is calming, but it also kind of adds a sense of dread to it. With it being so calm, you're like, you feel like you could be dragged into this sense of security, this sense of warmth, but inside your mind you're screaming, do not do that, whatever you do not let your guard down, you will die. And part of that is all helped, like I said, by the fantastic actors, or at least the fantastic writing. Again, I don't really know about the acting, and I'm sorry. I'm going to say it's good, though. In my opinion, it's good. Is there anything really bad about this? Yeah, like a lot of TV shows, it has a great beginning to the episode, but some of the middle is a little dull because they have to establish characters, they have to establish what's going on. And I cannot fault the show for that. But in the end, I'm going to end up giving this the first episode. I'm going to give Camelot 3.5 Raptor Claws out of 4. I absolutely loved it. And I cannot wait to go and watch the next episode. I can't wait to watch this entire series. Netflix has been knocking it out of the park with all the original series I've been watching recently, be it BoJack Horseman, Trailer Park Boys, Narcos. You know, then I stop and think about it, a lot of shows I've been watching have a lot of rampant drug use. Kids don't do drugs. There. Now I can't get in trouble. My point is, if you haven't seen Narcos before, go watch the first 3 seasons. It is worth your time. You get really invested into it, or at least I did, and I was super excited for this. When I heard Michael Pena was going to be the main character, was going to be in it, I was kind of like, oh, you're joking, right? But after seeing it, I'm like, okay, I want more right now. So you know what, guys? Go watch it. I hope the rest of the season will be as good as this. I am not going to do an episode-for-episode review unless you guys really want me to, which I probably could, but I will be more likely to do just a season review at the end of it, which might actually be what the next review might be on a show, which I may have somewhat hinted at last time. Anyhow, Dino Dudes, thanks for being patient while I was away for a bit, and I do have a deal for you. Now, I need you guys all to sit down and listen. I'm willing to make a deal with you guys. Another bet, so to say, like the one with General, years and years ago. I'm currently sitting at just over 900 subscribers. However, I believe we can make it to 1,000 subscribers easily. Now you might be thinking, okay, what's in it for us if we get you to 1,000 subscribers? Well, I was thinking that myself. And I can think of one thing that I know a lot of you would probably want me to review, and that I don't want to review. You guys know how Day of the Diesels really seem to get under my skin? There's something worse than it. And if you get me to 1,000 subscribers, I'm willing to do a full review on it. And not just one of these audio ones. I'm talking clips, I'm talking getting back on camera, I'm talking the whole shebang. I'm talking a new theme song, new editing style, new everything. And if you haven't managed to pick up on what I'm talking about, well, I'll leave you with this. Until next time, Dino Dudes, keep cool and sparkle, sparkle.